Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and apologies for the lateness of this video. I guess Thanksgiving took more out of me than even I suspected. That's spam turkey, bro. Delicious! But regardless, I decided to stretch the remainder of BCG Disney Week to the end of November. Which, technically speaking, means that it's not really BCG Disney Week. It'd be more appropriate to call it BCG Disney Weeks. But semantics aside, I have a brand spanking new video for you guys today. Unfortunately though, the topic we're going to be discussing in this video, to quote Marty McFly, is pretty heavy. As I'll be counting down the top 10 darkest Disney moments. Now, when most of us think about Disney, we think of cute characters, silly stories, and whimsical, colorful, catchy, upbeat, lighthearted musical numbers. But sometimes, even the family-friendly Disney takes a step down the dark path, leaving many of us frightened, saddened, and depressed, even traumatizing some of us. And that's what some of these choices did for many a kid growing up, as well as some unsuspecting adults. But before I start ruining your day or night, here are a few choices that just didn't make the cut. Clayton's death from Tarzan, kids turning into donkeys from Pinocchio, and the death of Ray from The Princess and the Frog. And now, brace yourselves. It's about to get really depressing up in here. Fighting for its life at the number 10 spot is The Fight in Big Ben from The Great Mouse Detective. Now, about 98% of this film is lighthearted and comical, following a Sherlock Holmes and Watson-like mice as they solve the case of the kidnapped inventor. But the other 2% is the climax that takes place inside Big Ben. And it's at this point that the fun, whimsical adventure part of the tale ends, and the brutality begins, as Basil is beaten within an inch of his life by Ratigan, who after seeing Basil ruin his plans back to back, goes beast mode literally. And even though they show no blood when Basil is being thrashed about, the way they animate his movements sells the pain being inflicted on him. The sheer terrifying size and appearance of Ratigan, killer eyes, sharp teeth and claws, large physique, everything, coupled with the heavy downpour and shading, the dark colors and lighting heightens the intensity of the scene, makes this one of the most brutal displays in a Disney film. Feeling the heat at the number 9 spot is Toys in the Incinerator from Toy Story 3. We can all agree that Toy Story 3 is by far the darkest chapter in this franchise to date. Andy's off to college, the toys are sent to a daycare where they're beaten and tossed about day after day by toddlers, and they're being oppressed by an evil regime led by a deranged, strawberry-smelling teddy bear, all culminating to the aforementioned title where Woody and the gang fall into an incinerator and are left for dead. Man, they just can't seem to catch a break. But what sells the gravity of this moment is the toys joining hands, looking into the eye of the furnace, and accepting their fate together. That's some powerful stuff to see in a cartoon about talking toys. Now, of course, we all know they end up making it out alive. Because after all, you want to scare kids, not scar them for life. But in that very moment, there was a sense of uncertainty, and I wouldn't hold it past Pixar to make such a bold move. And it's that eerie feeling of dread and the toys coming to terms with their mortality that makes for a memorably dark moment. Showing the ugliness of the human soul is my number 8 choice, Savages, barely even human, from Pocahontas. One of the darkest things in this very world is the human heart, and it's in full display in this scene/musical number, which is arguably the best scene in Pocahontas visually and story-wise. This moment showcases both the colonists and the Native Americans vilifying and dehumanizing each other in a song while preparing for a full-scale battle. What makes Savages, savages! So poetic is how it highlights the darkness that resides on both sides and how quickly each were able to jump to a negative conclusion based off of a misunderstanding of the other. The cultures may be different, but their prejudices and inability to see the other in a favorable light is sadly all too familiar. The heavy, mean-spirited lyrics, striking visuals, and foreboding atmosphere creates a haunting image that will resonate with you by the film's end. Scarring many of our childhoods at the number 7 spot is Mufasa's death from The Lion King. Oh come on, you all saw this one coming, and why wouldn't you? This is probably the first time many of us witnessed a major death in a film. I know it was for me, and it freaked me the heck out as a kid. Seeing Mufasa fighting to escape the wildebeest stampede, jumping for safety, clenching for dear life on the side of a ravine, begging his brother to save him, and then...
Long live the king.
That image is forever sketched into the deep recesses of my mind. Scar throwing Mufasa off, Mufasa screaming in terror, and Simba yelling in disbelief as his father falls to his death. And to make an already truly terrible, traumatic moment even worse, Scar tricks Simba into believing that he was responsible for his father's death, tells him to run away, then sicks his hyena henchmen to finish him off.
Damn, that's hateful!
Ringing in the darkness at the number 6 spot is the Bells of Notre Dom from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Let's be real. You could put this entire film in this spot, but I went with the film's introduction as it sets the tone perfectly and is not only the darkest scene in Notre Dame, but also the darkest prologue to any Disney film. The bleak setting, the haunting vocals of the choir, the booming orchestra, and all this before the real heavy stuff kicks in with the young gypsy woman running through the cold, dark streets of Paris from a ruthless judge out to imprison her. She screams for sanctuary at the steps of Notre Dame, gets cornered by the judge who tries to take her baby from her, and while in the scuffle, she is killed by the judge. And to bring this dour, nihilistic scene to a head, upon seeing the grotesqueness of the child, the judge decides to throw the baby down a well and drown it. Jesus, can this moment get any darker? Well, unfortunately, it does. Not explicitly, but implicitly. Cause though the baby is spared, he ends up being raised by the very monster that killed his mother and almost killed him. Imagine all the torment and vitriol Quasimodo had to deal with for all those years under Judge Frollo. His life was basically hell on earth if you think about it, as he rung the bells, 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 the bells of Notre Dame. Touching my heart both positively and negatively at the number 5 spot is the Ellie and Carl montage from Up. Equally the cutest and most heart-wrenching montages ever created, detailing the relationship of Ellie and Carl from its humble beginnings to its tragic end. We basically grew old with these characters, sharing all of their experiences. The wedding, the madly in love phase, the infertility, the hopes to travel, and everything in between. So to see Ellie on her deathbed was such a heavy scene to take in, because it wasn't just Carl losing the love of his life, but also us, the audience, losing somebody that we've grown attached to, that we've cared deeply for the last 4 minutes, which felt like a lifetime to many of us. At least we can take solace in the fact that they lived a wonderful life together. Still doesn't stop the tears streaming down my face. Making me bluer than the ocean at the number 4 spot is the opening to Finding Nemo. Dang, Pixar with the 1-2 punch of tragedy here. First old people dying, and now the circle of life at its most vicious and brutal. You have Marlin, who's about to start a family with his fish wife and 300 kids in a scenic location at the edge of the reef. But the cheerful, optimistic glow turns dark when a barracuda arrives, knocks Marlin out, and proceeds to devour his entire family. Keep in mind, this is the first 5 minutes of the film. We're off to a great start, as you can tell. The reason I picked this particular moment over Ellie and Carl is although their relationship did end on a sad note, at least they were able to live a full, happy life together. Marlin's family didn't even get a chance to start. It was ended prematurely. That makes it immensely more devastating, sending shivers down my spine every time I see and hear it. At the number 3 spot is Bambi's mom gets shot from Bambi. Forget the Battle of Lexington and Concord. This is the true shot heard round the world. Just hearing that gunshot go off, the sharp, heavy BAM that fades as fast as it came, gives me chills. What sells this moment's dark nature isn't just the gunshot, it's also seeing Bambi walking through the snow, calling out to his mother to no avail. You can tell that he's confused. He has no idea what transpired between running and getting back home. Then, to have his father bluntly tell him the truth?
Your mother can't be with you anymore.
Jeez, talk about the worst day of your life. The atmosphere of the scene truly embodies the melancholic tone. The contrasting backgrounds of dark woods and white snow gives off a haunting, otherworldly vibe, almost as if the character was actually in limbo. The creepy ambient noise that sounds like a mix of howling and a woeful cry, and Bambi's voice echoing into the emptiness. Truly an unforgettably dour scene. Breaking every dog lover's heart at the number 2 spot is Travis Shoots Old Yeller from, I'm pretty sure you can surmise what film I'm talking about here. Great. Another one about an animal that gets gunned down. But this one's a little bit different. Oh, who am I kidding? It's vastly different. The man that killed Bambi's mom never had the relationship Travis had with Old Yeller. What he did was not personal. What Travis did was extremely personal and very emotional. So after Old Yeller fights a wolf to save a little girl, he gets infected with rabies and slowly turns feral. And to save him from becoming completely lost, Travis reluctantly puts Old Yeller down in one of the most traumatic moments, not just in Disney history, but in film history. Anyone who's ever had a dog or lost a dog can empathize with this very moment. Maybe not fully, but there are some parts that will resonate with you. Because to Travis and his family, Old Yeller was not just some dog that they found. He was a part of the family. He was their best friend that stuck by them through thick and thin. In fact, Travis putting Old Yeller down is the equivalent of somebody pulling the plug on a family member. And seeing the emotions on Travis's face as he fights with himself to pull the trigger on Old Yeller, I can't think of a single person who could see that and not get choked up. And so, here we are. The number 1 choice. I don't think you guys are ready for this one. Heck, I don't even think I'm mentally ready to talk about this moment again. I saw this moment one time in my life, and that was nearly 10 years ago. And yet, the images I saw are forever etched into my soul. They linger in the deep recesses of my mind and haunt me to this very day. But I guess it's time for me to share it with you guys today, as the Disney moment that I found to be the darkest, most depressing one of them all, beating out the likes of Old Yeller, The Lion King, Finding Nemo, Bambi, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, is the Little MatchGirl. What is the Little MatchGirl, many of you are probably asking yourselves? Well, originally, it was supposed to be a segment in Fantasia 2000, but was removed either due to time restraints or, more likely, the subject matter, and was hidden away in the special features section of the Little Mermaid Blu-ray release back in 2006-2007. Which makes a lot of sense considering that both of the original stories were penned by the same person, Hans Christian Andersen. But what exactly is the story of the Little MatchGirl? Well, let me tell you. It is the tale of a little girl that freezes to death. I'm not joking. This is an official Disney animated short. Animated, produced, and approved by the Walt Disney Corporation. Yeah. So why is it that I believe the Little MatchGirl deserves the #1 spot? Well, the reason is twofold. One, when talking about the heavy, dark, depressing nature of the Little MatchGirl, I'm not just talking about a particular section or one moment in the short. I'm talking about the entire 6-minute short from beginning to end. It is the pure definition of a feel-bad short film. Unlike the other choices on this list, I'm more or less pointing out a particular moment or scene that I found dark and depressing. With the Little MatchGirl, it's the entire story itself. The entire story itself encompasses a very melancholic, depressive, nihilistic tone. And #2, unlike the Little MatchGirl, all the other choices have happy moments in them or even end on a relatively good note. Quasimodo is embraced by the people. Simba becomes the king of the Pride Lands. Although they lost Old Yeller, the family moves on and they're safe and sound, etc., etc. These movies have happy endings. They end on a relatively good note. There is not a single joyful moment in the Little MatchGirl. You could make the argument that near the end, that is sort of a happy moment, but to me, it's more of a bittersweet moment because in order for her to be at peace, she had to die. You see her being picked up by her grandmother. You think it's a happy ending. They pull a reverse on you. They subvert your expectations by thinking, oh, she's going to be saved at the end. Oh, great. At least she's not going to die in the cold. Nope. She just gets picked up. And as the grandma walks away, you see the body still there, frozen in place. So she wasn't technically saved. Her soul was carried away by her supposed grandmother, yet the body remains. That is some dark stuff right there. That image of the little girl slumped over in the snow with the music blaring, the dark toned down color palette. I mean, it is hauntingly depressing, guys. Like I said, I haven't seen this moment in 10 years, yet I still vividly remember every single piece of it. And for all those reasons, the Little MatchGirl is unquestionably the darkest Disney moment of all time.
That poor little girl. All she wanted to do was be warm. Why, Yahweh? Why?
Those were my choices for the top 10 darkest Disney moments. But I would like to know what you guys thought of my list. Did you agree with it? Did you disagree with it? Did you feel like I left any dark Disney moments out? And do let me know, what is the darkest Disney moment that you've ever seen? Comment below, let me know. And stay tuned, more videos for BCG Disney Week are on their way. And once this is all said and done, hopefully I can make an anime review after 3 or so months of not making one. Yeah, I know many of you have been waiting for that, so let's hope that I can get that done, please. But as always, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic Crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm 21 second, the absolute emotional wreck after making this list, known as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, I'm gonna go cry some more about the little MatchGirl. That was awful. Till then, peace, you two.